This video will tell you everything you need to know about creating a talking head video for YouTube using a green screen. You will see how to set up and film the green screen as well as filming your own backgrounds. I will give you the different camera settings and the workflows for editing both the green screen and the background. These are going to be somewhat different. Also available is a flight checklist that you'll refer to before you start filming, and this is available to download. The link is in the description below. At the end of the video, I'll show you a technique where you can put a border between your green screen image, that's the face image, and the background image, and we can have text that will slide behind your face but in front of the background image. I'm Bruce McBride, and my goal is to improve your knowledge of Final Cut and to increase the speed of your workflow. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and press the bell. Don't forget that timestamps are in the description below, and these will take you to the main sections in this video. So stage one is, why do you want to use a green screen in the first place? What is wrong with the room that you usually film your videos? What effect will you get better by using a green screen? The answer to this is that you can film in a safe location where the audio can be clear and you can have a background of your choice. The principal reason for you will be that the room you're filming in has got good audio control, and the background image that you're wanting to show will be either outside or noisy or too bright. So stage two is planning. Put down on paper what you want to do. Are you going to be sitting? Are you going to be standing? Will it be indoors? Will it be outdoors? This will affect the angle of your camera. You'll want to have it lower if you're sitting for indoors, or you'll have your camera set higher on the tripod if you're going to have an outside background. So what will your background be? Will you film it yourself? Or will you use stock images? You could use images from Pixabay, which will give you a video background, or you could have a still image background. So create a list of the things that you want to do. I've got a sample list for you. The link is in the descriptions below. Stage 3 is the filming. Set your camera to 4K at the highest resolution. Make sure that your audio rate is the same on the external recorder that it is on the video or the camera that you're recording with. If you're sitting, make sure your chair doesn't have a high back, because this will protrude above your shoulders and show in the image. The lighting that you use is very important. The green screen needs to be evenly lit, not too bright, as it will reflect on the face. A light set at an angle will show shadows in the folds on a green screen, so be careful. In fact, a naturally lit green screen will give a much better key than a badly lit green screen. The face also needs to be lit slightly brighter on the side where the light is coming in from your background image, but without deep shadows on the other side or under the eyes. Make sure your arms are within the range of the green screen, otherwise they'll fly, and you can see in this image here where the arms have moved right outside the image. Read from the outlines in the script, look straight at the lens, relax, and let your personality take over. For a better audio result, I suggest you use an external audio recorder with a lavalier or lapel microphone attached. This will be less intrusive when you are looking at the video. However, some of the tech type YouTube people will want to have a large microphone, and that gives more of a technology feel to their footage. This is over to you. I use a Zoom H1 audio recorder, and the audio from that is then synced with the camera audio. What you should be very careful of when you're recording two lots of audio is that you're recording at the same audio rate. There are two rates, 44.1 or 48 kilohertz. Both the external audio recorder and your camera should be recording at the same rate. And here's a tip if you're using the lapel microphone. If you've got a deep or a gravelly voice like I have, then attach the mic a little away from your throat rather than on your shirt lapel, maybe a couple of buttons down. And now to filming the background locations. I suggest you pick a number of different locations if you're going to do a lot of different videos. If you're sitting, make sure that it's an indoor office or room image that you're filming. If you're standing, then certainly you can film in a park or outdoors or with a view behind you. Set your camera on a tripod. If you're standing, make sure it's a little higher than for the filming when you're sitting. The camera angle is important to get the realistic effect. In your background image, you need some sort of movement in the distance that gives a sense of reality. So some cars moving in the background, or perhaps wind in the trees or leaves moving, will give that realistic effect. Otherwise, you may as well just use a still image as your background image. If you're in a park, then some people in the background is a good idea, but make sure they don't come too close to you. Certainly you don't want them walking past you or walking towards you. Set yourself in the shot and compose yourself with the background image. You'll then be able to use that composition when you slip the green screen image into the background in the edit. And when you compose yourself in the background shot, you'll need a flip camera so that you can actually see yourself with the background, or else you'll then need an assistant to compose you. So when you're happy with your background scene and the composition of you standing or sitting there, then film about 5 or 10 minutes. This will depend on the length of time that your video is going to take on YouTube anyway. As I said, film a number of different locations, or if you're just starting out, just take one single shot of the background and use that still image, or you could use a stock image. If you want to use stock images or stock images with video, then Pixabay is a good place to go, but video with some movement will look more realistic. Look at Pixabay for free to use stills and video. The link is in the description below. You'll find that when you're recording face to camera, you'll forget your script and you'll need to look away. Now, when you look away, then you need to cut that out and come back with a new take on the next part of the script. So what you'll do is you'll talk to camera for a paragraph or two, or as far as you can remember, and then you'll need to review back to your script. After all, we're not all Hollywood actors. So you need to cut those sections where you look away. So the technique in the edit is to make use of the 4K footage by zooming in without losing resolution so that you can avoid that jump cut. And if you did have a jump cut, it would look like this. See one here now. Now we're ready to start editing the clips together. So first of all, we need to import our green screen clip and our audio clip. And from there, we will select both of those together and we'll make a multicam clip out of that. And we'll call that green screen. And for this exercise, we'll make it 1080p. And that will happen fairly quickly because the audio track and the video audio are very much the same. So Final Cut will have no problem linking them together. So what we need to do with this is to import it directly into a new project. So we can select a new project here. We'll call that green screen as well. And we'll import the multicam clip by pressing E on the keyboard, which will bring it into the timeline. We can double click that And perhaps the first thing to do visually will be to select these little bars here and drag the audio below the video. So we should now go to our audio and make any adjustments we need to sweeten the audio. You could do that in the inspector, or as we've set up before, we can bring one of our presets in, and there's a video on how to do that. So click the eye above and you'll be able to do that. If we now listen to the audio and the video together, we should be able to hear them in sync. It will tell you everything you need to know about creating a talk. And that sounds okay there to me. So now we can remove or delete the level of the audio in the video track, and we've just got the audio now running in the external audio, and they're not mixed together. Our next step is to key out the green screen. So we will come up to the keying in the effects browser and select the keyer and drag that on top. And you can see that it's keyed it out really well. There's a little bit of an area down here that we could change. So if we select this clip now and we look in the keyer, we can see the sample color here. If we select that with the blue outline, we will then be able to just key that area here, and you see that that's taken that out. If it was a really bad key, we would have a lot of adjustments to make, and so we'll look at that in a separate exercise. But essentially what you would mainly want to do is look at the mat, which is in the middle here of the view, and providing there's no blacks in there, then that has keyed quite well. The hair looks like it's keyed reasonably well there. If you wanted to fill any holes, and you can see there's a hole over here, then we could remove that by using the fill holes. And if you wanted to go to the edges, then you would use this control and put that over the edge there. The only other thing you might want to do, and we would do this once we're looking at the image as a composite, is that there may be some green spill or reflection from the green screen. And this would happen if the lighting on the green screen is too bright. Then you may want to use the spill level here, and that will adjust the amount of spill that comes out on the face or on the body. But generally speaking, this is a pretty good key, so we don't need to worry about doing any more to it. Our next step is to remove these edges here outside of the actual green screen, and so we will come and select in the effects browser masks, and for this exercise we'll use the draw mask and drag that over. We can now simply select, create the mask here. We'll come fairly close because that arm there is probably going to spill out a little. And once that's keyed there, then you can see those edges have gone. So as I said before, now we'll look at a badly filmed green screen. And here is an example. So if we try to key this one now, and drag the key over the top, you can see that it hasn't keyed out. In fact, it's taken a lot of the color actually out of the image itself. So what we'll need to do is to come to the sample color, and we'll select that green screen, and you'll see it's left a lot of other areas here. So now holding the shift key and selecting those. But what you'll find is that a lot of the colour has been taken out of the image, and we'll see that by selecting the matte here. And you can see where it's black, that's in fact showing to the background. And this needs to be completely white. So the fill holes will help for this. And if we fill those holes out now, and if there's no more black, then we've made a good key there. You'll notice that there's an issue on the side here that could simply be cut out with an image mask, as you've seen previously. So if we select the composite of that now, there's quite a good green screen selection or keyed selection on a badly filmed background. So let's go back to the key that we were working with before and see how we can finish that off. So first of all, we need to collapse the multicam clip, and that will bring it into the timeline for us to work with. And Shift Z will bring it down so that we can see the whole image. We need now to bring our background in, and we just simply need to drag the background in below the image there. And you can see immediately that it's come through. This particular background's not covering it all, so we'll just, for this exercise, bring it to the front here and duplicate it by holding the Option key down and dragging another copy here so it covers the whole image. And you'll see that this is a video background and some of the images moving, which will give a more realistic feel to it. So what we want to do now is to try and match the image color with the color of the green screen itself. So we could just simply go to the match color and on the background match the color to here and apply match. And that will quickly bring the two together. Or you could spend your time under the color corrections and match the color. You may want to slightly blur the background so that it looks further away and maybe just sharpen up the image. And that simply would be done by selecting your background and moving over to your blurs. And we could put a Gaussian blur on there. That's obviously too much now. So we will come to the inspector and reduce the amount. And that just gives you a feel for the background being further away and the image being sharper. If you should need to, you can put a sharpener on the image itself, and if we select the image there, we can see that it's got a 2.5 sharpening on it. That's all over to you. So the next step is that we need to combine both the background and the green screen multicam image together. So we'd select both of those and right click on it and create a new compound clip. You can see that that clip is now moved up into the browser as well. And it has a symbol there showing that it's compounded. And once the clip's compounded together, then we can start doing our actual edit. So if we look down here, I've got one prepared here. The background is compounded in. So this involves cutting as you would do with any normal clip. So if we're playing through here, this is what we want to keep.
Using a green screen.
And then this one here is looking away from the camera, so we don't want that one. And then you're moving to the next clip that we do want to keep, and so on. So we need to cut out. So you would cut at this point. That's Command B. This is unwanted clip, so we can delete that. So these are clips 1, 2, 3, and 4. And obviously others will follow, but let's just work with these ones. So this one here, it being our first clip, is in the unzoomed original state. And as we move through this jump cut, you'll see the jump there. What we want to do with this clip is now zoom into it. And so we can select our blue dots on the corner and drag that until we have an appropriate zoom. So now let's look at that as a jump.
A green screen. You will see how to...
So that's quite appropriate. You'll see the background and the green screen image have both been zoomed in. Then when we get to this jump here, it goes back to the original one. So now that we have that clip, this is the second clip, we can copy that by Command C, and then move not to the third but to the fourth clip, so in every alternate one from here, and we will simply paste that back in there. Let's paste the attributes so we can check what we're pasting with position and scale, and paste that. So when we play this through now from that clip to this clip, then the jump is not as noticeable. As I promised at the beginning of the tutorial, here's the technique where text will slide from behind the green screen image and in front of the background, and this will give some depth to your video. Now what we could do is that we could use an animated image, because that will give the effect of the text moving behind the green screen or the subject, but in front of the background. So we could use Apple's built-in drop-down overlay or reveal, because they have some animation in them. So let's consider using the drop-down. Now the first thing we need to do with this is that we need to select between the background and the foreground. To do this, we need to open up our compounded clip. So double-clicking this now, we can see here's the green screen and here's the background. What we need to do is to bring the drop-down into that area and take it right through, because you'll find that you'll use it in these areas here later anyway. Now by clicking on that, we can see it in the viewer, and clicking on the title text itself, we can move the title in the background. So let's set it there to start with, and we'll move it down here to say there, and then move the text back. And if we now go back to our timeline, you'll see the text moving in the background there. If you wanted to, you could create your own titles to do this, or let's try the keynote just for something different. That's the keynote title here in Apple's bumper and opener. So double clicking the clip again, let's now just disable the drop down, and we'll drag the keynote in there and pop that in that location. And now if we click on that, we can put our titles on the other side. So if we move this and go to left in the inspector, then there's the keynote titles on the other side. And as we move through now, you can put your own text in to replace the standard from Apple. So that covers everything you need to know about green screening. Thank you for watching.